So let's dive into these 5 pillars I keep talking about. Because these 5 pillars, once you master them and once you balance them and once each of them is sending the same message out there, then you rock the game. The very first one is prices and perceived value. Don't worry, we're going to deep dive into each of them. The sales techniques, the client experience, and God knows that I keep talking about the client experience, communication, marketing and branding, and productivity, mindset, and marketing. So something I will keep saying again and again and again is you need all of them to be mastered. If one of them doesn't work, then nothing works. We're going to start with one of my favorites because I have a very cool example about it. Prices and perceived value. What does that mean? We tend to think that the price has to be a way to be different. What's very interesting is sometimes it is in a bad way because you are too cheap for your clients and they don't trust you because you are too cheap. I don't know if it already happened to you. It actually happened to me. So the fact is that at the end of the day, when the client saw the 2 quotes, it was like, why this one is so cheap? Why this one is definitely much cheaper than the first one? I get there is a problem somewhere. If there is a moment when everything has to be aligned, because as we said before, who are the perfect clients? These perfect clients were just in front of him, but because the prices were not aligned, it didn't work, how to talk to them, what type of message to deliver to them, how to deliver a consistent message absolutely everywhere. And this is something I keep saying again and again and again. This is the most important thing. What are the luxury codes related to you, perfect client, that you need to implement absolutely everywhere? The perceived value, and you will hear me talking a lot about the perceived value, is the alignment between the branding, the communication, marketing, client experience, and price, which means like if one of all of this is not aligned, that something is going to feel like strange. We were talking about these friends, branding, communication, marketing, ding, 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 green flags everywhere, and price too low. There is something wrong somewhere. Like there is no, like it's not possible, So he just lost the client because it was too low and too cheap comparing to all the messages he sent out there. Sales technique. So sales technique is something like I'm going to share with you like a book you must have in your library. And it's just a book that I read maybe 10 times, but it's also about designing a proper pitch. So I know it's super cliche, but the thing is, the more you practice your pitch, the more you'll be comfortable and the more you will look confident. The sales techniques is something that could be an endless conversation because it's a mix between influence, manipulation, sales techniques, and it's a mix of absolutely everything. But mastering this art can help so much. One of the ways to do it is to design a proper pitch. When we met a client, we had a pitch so well organized that it was very funny, but we had the same music at the exact same moment of our pitch, which means that we designed the emotion during the meeting through the music as well, because we always said exactly the same thing at the same moment. And I knew my playlist so well that I knew exactly what type of music was coming just after this one. So I adapted a bit my pitch and I found a way to come back and to push there in this direction or in another one. Obviously, we adapt depending on the lead mind, and which is, maybe to be honest with you, one of the most complicated thing I have to do. And I talk a lot and I'm very like, woo, I talk a lot. Like you see me, you cannot miss me. So when I have in front of me someone like very shy, very like discreet, so I have to slow down a bit my voice. I have to adapt my body language. And inside I'm like, getting crazy because this is so not me, but it's also just to adapt to the person in front of you so they feel comfortable. So it's a sales technique, but all the sales techniques are actually human techniques, human communication techniques. And once you know and master all of this, then definitely you enter another level of the game. You train your pitch until it's so natural you don't even think about it. So you have the superpower of adapting it. So you have the superpower of being flexible. But the base has to be super strong so you can change it. And you learn from your experiences and mistakes. Something I've learned a lot, I know it looks super cliche, but something I've heard a lot from my own clients when they miss a contract or when like they don't have a client for any reason. They tend to say it's the client's fault. Look, yeah, but they didn't have any budget anyway, or like, or this client is like that, he's too picky, he's too or whatever. At the end of the day, what's actually very interesting sometimes is to get back to what happened and to say like, okay, what did I do wrong? Because maybe it's not the client's fault. Maybe it's just the way you explained the concept. Maybe it's the way you showcased the product. Maybe it's the way like you introduced yourself. Like there is potentially many things that could be changed. This is why every time I fail, every time a client tell me like, I'm very sorry, unfortunately, we are not going to work together, I'm always like, there is absolutely no problem. I would love to learn from you. So if you can tell me what made the difference, if you can tell me what, for which reason you decided not to go ahead, and with a very intentional, with a smile, like I'm more than happy to learn from you. Most of the time they reply and they tell you like, well, if you want me to be honest, like it's about this or it's about that. Great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate. I wish you the very best and etc. etc. But at least you learn from it. The book I was talking about is this one. I have it like in French, in English, like absolutely everywhere I live. I have a copy of this book. It's an essential you need to have. You can find it on basically Amazon for absolutely nothing, but it's just for me the best sales techniques book. It's super known. I don't know if some of you already have it. Client experience. Okay, guys. So this is something that I'm fascinated about for one reason, which is the client experience. It's so underrated. So underrated. When you pay for something, you expect to have what you paid for. The client experience is all the things that's going to happen around and that's going to elevate so much the experience of the client, like their feedback, like how they're going to feel after the experience with you. And it works with services, but it works with product. It works for absolutely everything, because just a good product or service is not enough. I don't know how it works where you live, guys, but for example, here in the Middle East, for now, the market is oversaturated of absolutely everything. And every time you have something new jumping from nowhere, on the market, you have 10 people copying it, and it's just ridiculous. It's very complicated to open something here and to be competitive and to be different. So nowadays, one of the only way to be different is through the client experience. It's also something that is actually sometimes even more viral than the product or service itself. Simple example, the unboxing thing, the fact that now people are filming themselves just opening a box, removing the tissue and just discovering the product means like the experience is actually even sexier than the product itself, because the product, we paid for it. So we expected it. But all this thing around, all this experience around is like a cherry on the cake, but it's actually sometimes more viral than the product itself. And it's also more word of mouth. The best thing that I've ever heard from my own clients as a wedding photographer was, "Oh, Marie, it was amazing working with you. We had so much fun. It was so easy to be in front of the camera. And I know I'm super shy. And God, I enjoyed so much. I think now I'm photo addict, blah, 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 blah. And oh, yes, the pictures are amazing. By the way, the thing you paid for is great, but all the things you put on the table, like around all of that, is even better." So for me, this is the best compliment ever I can have from my client. And I wish you to live this as well, because it's just like, oh, okay, so it's not about me just doing the job well, it's about me delivering something that's so big that they didn't even expect it. Nowadays, one of the only way to be different and memorable is the client experience, because the product or the service, you can have millions. Definitely, you can have millions of bags, shoes, good like photographers, but designers, like interior designers, whatever is your job. Someone else can do it even better than you somewhere, for sure, 100%. So how to be better and how to be memorable is through the client experience. And it's also something very cool and I love so much. And I think if you know me, you know it. It allows personalization, which is like cherry on the cake, something that definitely need to be mastered. And it increased the perceived value because how to compare something which is just the product and something that is a product and an experience and an ecosystem and an entire personality and someone, blah, 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 blah. You cannot compare. So that it increased the perceived value. You have so much more than just what you paid for. And most of the time, it doesn't cost much. Most of the time, it's going to be just a simple message, just to remember their name, just to send some flowers, just some things like that, just to put the sealed paper with your logo and like a note, handwritten note somewhere. So it doesn't need to be crazy things. Like you don't need to send a driver, for example, or things like that. But why not? If you can allow it, just go for it, just surprise them, over deliver, just go so big that they don't even remember what they paid for, basically. So let me share with you quickly, a little experience that I just lived because I had the chance and pleasure and honor to go to the UK for a conference for Wella, if you know the brand. And they asked me to do a conference about the client experience and how to upgrade the different moments of the journey of someone going to the hairstylist. So I saw like, okay, I thought about like when you go to the hairstylist, basically how it works. You arrive, you wait, coffee or tea, you wait again, you have your highlights done by one professional, rinsing by another one, cut potentially by another one, blow dry, pay and leave. So this is, let's say, not the worst case scenario, but the general standard scenario, right? Now let's see how we could potentially upgrade the experience. You arrive, or why not? We were talking about driver. Why not? Let's go with driver, like the packaged XXL plus. Why not? You don't wait. Like waiting is actually one of the most devaluable. That's something that is going to devaluate the perceived value of your product or your service, just for you to know. You have a choice of beverages, for example, a viral signature cocktail. And it's very funny because I have one of my clients, I sent her this conference and she created a menu. So now depending on the package they book with her, they can have even champagne and caviar. And I love it. It's just like just the best experience ever. The whole treatment by the same professional who know you, who love you, who knows the story of your family, who knows the story of your hair, who knows what type of products you like and all of that. You like personalization and personalized advices. So depending of your hair, you need to do that. You need to do this. I share my expertise with you. Okay. And then you pay and you get some extra bespoke gifts, but not like some random samples, but bespoke means like considering the type of treatment that you just got. And then we can follow up after the treatment, which means basically just send a message a few days later to see if everything is fine and to see if like how goes the color and all of these things. So this is just another example of what we can do and how we can upgrade basically the experience for a hairstyle salon. But let's see now how you could potentially do it yourself by using it for your own personal business. So the next pillar is marketing, communication, and branding. And there is one word I want you to keep in mind, which is consistency, which is whatever it is about, we need to send the same message absolutely everywhere in our marketing, in our communication, and in our branding. So let's start by the branding one. Branding one, I always talk about a brand book. What is a brand book? It's one PDF document where you're going to put all the informations about your brand. The colors, the fonts, like all the different values, the words you want to see everywhere, the words you don't want to see, like everything that is going to be about your brand itself. This is going to be so helpful for so many reasons. The first one is to avoid you to go crazy. If you are a bit like me, every week you want to try something different. So every week you're like, okay, so it was gold, but what if we go gray? Don't you think it would be better with this color or this font? Stop it. We have a brand book. We stick to it. So here I say forever. Don't worry. Obviously, you can change and you can rebrand, but after a few years, once you see it doesn't work or what works, etc., then obviously you can adapt. But once you have your brand book, then you have to have the same colors and the same font and the same message again, absolutely everywhere. Social media, website, brochure, business cards, absolutely everywhere. We need to feel the same vibe. We need to see the same colors and we need to see the same energy, right? So now I always have a lot this question about the difference between personal branding versus corporate branding in luxury. So the positive things and the negative things. So the thing is, personal branding has definitely amazing sides. Corporate branding has amazing sides, and both of them also have bad things. Personal branding, this is very trendy at the moment because we realize that even in luxury, we actually love having humans. This is very funny, but now if I tell you Chanel, it's Coco Chanel. When I tell you Saint Laurent, it's Yves Saint Laurent. When I tell you Louboutin, it's shoes. It's Christian Louboutin. So it's someone. All these brands are actually about personal branding. So when you think about it, it's insane, So don't feel guilty if you want to go in this direction. It doesn't mean all the time that you have to showcase and you have to show yourself everywhere and you have to talk in front of the camera every single day. No, it's just that you bring some humanity in your brand. The bad side of it is that if tomorrow you want to go out of it, then you have to create an entire strategy for you step by step to go out of the game without the brand to collapse. So it's definitely possible. Like all of them, they did it, but it's just something that it's going to be a bit longer, let's say. Corporate branding, it's amazing because it's not a name. It's not someone. So if tomorrow you want to sell it, if tomorrow you just want to go on holidays or like you just don't want to work anymore or anything, it's fine because it's not you. It's not associated to you. But at the same time, it's going to take longer to touch the emotion, to touch the human side for someone to feel like, oh, like I feel so connected to this person, So it works actually in luxury like it works in absolutely everything. You have good sides and you have bad sides. There is no right answer. It's just the one you are comfortable with. And in general, this is something that I keep saying, like, it's fine. There is no right or wrong thing. It's always only thing that we can improve. Okay. We actually created this amazing tool. If you don't have it yet, I highly, 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 highly recommend you to get it. It's the luxury toolbox. And if you are completely lost with your branding, just go ahead with this tool. It's amazing. So it's all about the colors of the luxury, like the font, typography, but it's also how to calculate your pricing. So this tool is super cheap, super useful, and it's an essential if you want to work mainly your branding, but not only, also about communication and media and all of that. So go ahead with this one. You can find it absolutely everywhere. Communication is a big baby, and it's something that actually is very funny. We are working a lot lately with my clients at this specific moment. So what to share, which format, where to share, when to share it. Do I have like a signature content? The thing is, my ultimate goal is for you to be able to spend as less time as possible working on your communication, especially if you are you yourself and you working under like different hats. Because the thing is, this communication marketing thing can be so overwhelming that you have so many things to do. Like I have to create my product. I have to work with my clients. I have to like do my accounting. I have to and then now I am a specialist about communication and marketing. It's just so overwhelming. My ultimate goal when I work with my clients and tonight with you is for you to be able to create processes again and create templates. Then you don't need to overthink. So basically, we are so lucky nowadays to have amazing tools, super easy to use, like Canva, CapCut, etc. So you can create very easily content again and again and again. Why actually are we spending so much time struggling, trying to see what we're going to share? Because every single day we need to create something different. We need to wonder. We are like, what am I going to share today? And what I'm going to share next week? And then you actually spend so much time trying to see what you're going to share. But once you decide, okay, like I have a schedule. Monday, I share a quote. Wednesday, I share a video backstage with a B-roll thing with a text on it. Like on a Friday, I share like a tip or something like that. So the fact that you know in advance what you're gonna share, it's gonna be so helpful when you're gonna create the templates, and so it can be done very quickly. My ultimate goal is for you to spend like half a day, like the Monday morning, to create the content for the entire week, so you don't have to share about it anymore. And the more you'll do it, the more it's going to be a process, the more it's going to be easy to delegate maybe later. And then for you to spend as less time as possible to deal with that and to focus on your clients. Because at the end of the day, remember what we said, what the most important is consistency. Okay. Like to stay the same message absolutely everywhere. About marketing, I wanted just to do a quick versus. What's the difference between the mass market and the luxury market in the way we communicate? Mass market, we hear a lot about discount and special offer. I just had this conversation with one of my clients yesterday because she was like, it's Mother's Day soon here, and I'm going to organize kind of a contest, like tag your mother and you can offer her like a free hair. It was like extension thing, etc. And I when I feel something, you immediately see it on my face, So I was like, she was like, what did I do wrong? Well, this is a very mass market technique, So she was like, oh my God, you're so right. I didn't even realize. It's fine. It's okay. It's normal because you are used to see that in your own daily life because you are part of the mass market. I am part of the mass market myself. So I tend to be obsessed. I tend to be like comfortable with that type of techniques. But if you want to attract another type of clientele, so you have to change as well the way you communicate. So for example, the same thing in the luxury market would be price integrity. Because when you offer discount or when you do like special offers or things like that, the message you send out there is, I do the same thing, less expensive, which means that what you paid before actually doesn't worth it. And that I can definitely make it cheaper. So all the messages are so bad, it's just like a complete disaster at the end of the day. So it's just about like sending the right message. We have a lot of urgency tactics, like it's like sign up before blah, 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 like just 3 seats and things like that. And it's fine. It works perfectly for mass market. Mass market is not a bad word. This is something that I really wanted to say. Mass market is not a bad word. It's most of the people on this planet are from the mass market. So we're fine. It's just not the type of clientele we are trying to attract today. So on the other side, in the luxury market, we tend to do, for example, wait lists. If any of you know the Kelly or the Birkin from Hermes, you know what I'm talking about. They are, for me, like a case study. Mass market, we have lead magnets, for example. And for the luxury market, we would have private access. Like so many luxury brands actually do that. Even Louboutin, I'm on the list. But you have access to some collections before anybody else, or you have access even to special prices when they want to get rid of the old collection, for example. Mass market would be high volume influencers, and in luxury market would be select ambassadors, because it's even in the world, it's not the same mode. Productivity, mindset, and networking, it's actually underrated a lot. We have like the productivity, which is optimization and delegation, process creation, scale with good standards. I want to say something. Not every time, but most of the time when I talk with entrepreneurs that are at that moment, when you are like, something has to change, like I need to upgrade, I need to maybe hire more people, I need to scale, like something has to change. But then when you deep dive into it, you realize that there is no process. Everything is just like let's go how it goes and let's see how it feels, and it's just like this week we try this and next week we try something else. But the thing is, once you have in mind the idea of scaling, then processes are the basis. You need to have processes. And this is something we work a lot with my clients. The thing is, it's not only when you want to scale, it's also when you want to clear your mind. Because the thing is, once you don't have to think about what's next, because everything is ding, 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 I just follow the flow automatically, then you have space for many, many other things that are more interesting and important in your business. The mindset, I'm sure you know about that. I'm not going to learn you anything about that, but the mindset is 80% of the work. It's all about the mindset. If you are not ready, I basically spend 3 sessions fighting with my client. And it's actually, I think he's like 45 or something. It's been in his industry for 20 years. He knows what he's talking about and he knows the industry. We fought together during 3 sessions, yes, against his own mindset, for him to change his mind and for him to accept the fact that, yes, if you want to have a different result, then you need to change something. And can be definitely uncomfortable. Networking is the last step. I have so many people saying like, oh, I need to work on my networking. Stop. Imagine you go out there, you just meet your perfect client or a perfect partner and you start talking. And then they check, for example, your Instagram or your website and they're like, oh, okay, well, this is not what I expected. And then you just lost this partner or this client. So basically, you're going to lose the opportunity. The opportunity of working with someone just because the rest of the message is not aligned. This is what I keep saying again and again and again. So let's get back to these 5 pillars: prices and perceived value, sales techniques, client experience, communication, branding and marketing, and productivity, mindset, and network. Once you master these 5 pillars, then you can go absolutely everywhere you want. And this is why you need to work on each of them. And we do work on each of them with each of our clients to be able to have again and again this consistent message we send out there. But something I really want you to understand is you did well. I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, I did it so far. It's a disaster. I have so many things I have to fix. Yes, but you did well so far. What I really want you to know from me is like everything you did so far pushed you where you are right now. So you can be super proud of you. Now, the question is, if I keep doing the same thing, I'm going to have the same results again and again and again. Makes sense, right? Keep doing the same thing and you'll have the same results. So this is the moment when in your mind, you're like, okay, am I comfortable with the situation the way it is right now? Am I okay with like the amount of client, the type of client and the potential future I have in front of me? Am I comfortable to think that if I don't change anything in 6 months from now, in 1 year from now, best case scenario, the situation is the same. Worst case scenario, it's another story, right? Or do I want to change something? Do I want something to be different? Do I want to change my client? Do I want to challenge myself? Do I want to go out of my comfort zone? So the thing is, I have for you a little something, which is actually not a little something, which is a huge, huge thing. It's today I open just for you 10 seats. You can book it like it's 20 minutes. You can book. We have only 10 seats. It's a call like 15 minutes and we can talk about your business. We can definitely adapt everything we just talked about to your own business and you can ask all your questions. I'm so excited to learn more about you. Okay, guys. Oh, wow. It was a lot. It was very intense.